Welcome to the Philosophy for Philistines channel. On this October the 28th, we have a very, very serious matter to discuss today. And it has to do with findings from the Oversight Committee of the Republicans with regard to gain-of-function experiments. My frequent assertion is that playing whack-a-mole with the left is a waste of time. We need to look at the root cause for a problem, identify it, and cut the serpent's head off. We do not need to wonder what Communist China intends to do. It is an enemy of individual economic liberty, of free market capitalism, and it has sworn to become the hegemonic leader of the world. Further evidence has come out that indeed gain-of-function research was funded. I'll read the remark from the Oversight Committee. July 28th, NIH says no NIAID funding was approved for gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Obviously, they were lied to. NIH confirmed today EcoHealth and the Wuhan Institute of Virology conducted gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses. And then they released a further document. Again, all the links will be below. You may open them up yourself and investigate these things for yourself. I never ask anyone to believe me. In fact, I'm not important at all. What is important is that so many of you are ignoring the actual problem. And this is what the actual problem is. That our governments have cooperated with Communist China to release the biggest pandemic the world has ever seen and used it to kill civil liberties and economic freedom and liberty. They've destroyed our economy. Why more of you can't see that is beyond me, because I ain't no genius. You know, a genius is not what I is. But I can read. The title of the report included in this Twitter feed from the Republican Committee is entitled Understanding the Risk of Bat Coronavirus Emergence. On page 17 and 18, you just scroll right through it as you open it up. I'll just read it briefly as I'm scrolling down here. And of course, I'm not a virologist, but I'm reading reports done by virologists. So it shows a chart. You'll see it as you open it up. Immunofluorescence assay confirms infection of 4 chimeric viruses with the backbone of MERS-CoV and RBD of bat HQU4R CoVs in different cell lines derived from human tissues. Right replication of MERS HQU4R RBD CoVs in HELA cells expressing human DPP4 was determined by real-time PCR. And on the next page, page 18, conferences and university lectures. We continue to provide human subject research trainings to chief physicians and nurses at local clinics staffed from the Yunnan Institute of Endemic Disease Control and Prevention, students from Dali College and Wuhan University for both qualitative and quantitative research. agency and other briefing, Dr. Guangjiang Zhu provided training to 18 field team members from the Dali College and 4 Wuhan Institute of Virology laboratory team members regarding biosafety and PPE use, bats and rodent sampling. So here's proof for the average layperson that they are indeed conducting would be a better word, better turn of phrase. I like it myself. I'm so pissed off. You know, I posted some preliminary findings about this whole idea of how we are cooperating with Communist China yesterday on a classical liberal group. Classical liberalism is the philosophy that allowed the modern Western world to emerge. Classical liberalism focuses on free and open economy, free trade, and individual autonomy and individual liberty. It defines the very thinking which lies behind the most prosperous period in human history, where we are virtually eliminating poverty and hunger because we're allowing people to do what they do best, compete with one another and trade freely. This is an attempt to destroy the very foundational principles of Western freedom and success. And we have helped pay for it. All the links are going to be below. But please, for those of you that are still listening, please tell me why you are so utterly foolish in your inability to understand what's going on. From Newsweek, the National Institutes of Health, NIH, has given U.S. research group EcoHealth Alliance, EHA, until Monday to release all of its NIH-funded coronavirus data research after it failed to reveal that an engineered coronavirus was found to be more infectious in mice than other forms. Republicans have subsequently accused the group of lying to the National Institute of Health. Both organizations have been thrust into the spotlight by the fact that the agency funded EAH research into coronaviruses in Wuhan, which is incidentally where Pfizer is located, the Chinese city where the first COVID-19 cases were reported over the past several years. The work, funded by a multi-year grant awarded in 2014 and done in collaboration with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, involved engineering coronaviruses to see how they affect mice. Critics say that this was risky and could have potentially led to human infections or even the COVID pandemic. The NIH repeatedly denied that this was possible. On Wednesday, NIH Director Dr. Francis Collins said in a statement that the NIH-funded research could not possibly have caused the pandemic. His statement came the same day the health agency demanded the EHA hand over an unpublished data related to studies after it failed immediately to report back to the NIH when a coronavirus experiment produced a significant finding that mice became sicker. And those mice had been genetically altered with human genes, which is creepy enough in and of itself. The one thing that is shared in common between all oligarchs and tyrannical morons is a desperate need to control. That's the first. But the second is even as pathologically idiotic. They believe that they can control things beyond their ability to control, which is a diametric opposite of classical liberalism. Live and let live. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. leave other people alone. Don't think that you're so smart that you're going to solve all the world's crisis. The best way to solve a crisis is to let people learn to be responsible for themselves. And right now, this emerging information is making it clearer and clearer that our governments, the US, the UK, Canada, and others undoubtedly, have assisted in research that caused this bloody pandemic, and that as soon as it happened, that our oligarchical, tyrannical fools in charge of this cock-up used it to crush our economy and take away your civil liberties. Once they're taken away, they're never going to give them back. That's a given. Tyrants don't relinquish their power without a fight. You better be prepared to fight. I know I am. I've had enough of this shit. I can't stand every day of what I'm seeing in this bloody town. I live in Ottawa, and it is the most maniacally mismanaged city I've ever had the misfortune of living in. In some ways, it even exceeds that of Toronto. So many things to think about today. I'm too angry to give you a happy goodbye, so I'll just say goodbye.